Jermall Charlo's legal team responds. He's released after being arrested. Part 2 is coming up now. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys throw a like on the video. It goes a long way when you guys throw a like to help others find the content just like you found it. It helps exponentially. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Part 2. I made part 1 of the video. The beautiful thing about what I do in boxing, especially with situations like this, I don't know what's going on. I give you both sides of the story. Part A, part B, you know, the first one, and I also give you the sequel. The last video I did, I really read the TMZ Sports. It said Jermall Charlo, boxing star, arrested after he allegedly stole cash from a waitress in a bar dispute. Now Jermall's legal team have responded to these claims, and they denied that any money was stolen. It says world champion boxer facing felony charges, robbery charges in San Antonio, right? That's his mugshot. And I want to give you guys the updated video. So again, this is a follow-up. I advise you watch the first video where I reported what was said in the accusations. Now we're getting into this. So make sure you guys check that first video, subscribe to the channel. It says San Antonio boxer Jermall Charlo turned himself into authorities in Bexar County Wednesday morning, weeks after San Antonio police issued multiple felony robbery warrants against him. So it sounds serious. Charlo, age 31, was booked at a satellite office, Bexar County Courthouse, just before 10 a.m. and released on bond about 30 minutes later. Charlo's attorney Wednesday afternoon pushed back on these charges, claiming SAPD moved forward with the case in an attempt to embarrass his client. Wow. On July 16th, San Antonio police responded to private martini bar social club, blah, blah, blah. 2 a.m. Charlo had receiving a call at 2 a.m. saying Charlo had assaulted a waiter and taken off with her tips, according to the SAPD incident report. The incident happened after a credit card Charlo attempted to use to pay his tab was repeatedly declined, the report states. After Charlo accused the waiter of trying to steal his credit card, Charlo grabbed 2 waiter books, removing his identification from one and cash from another, according to a warrant on his arrest. Charlo and members of his group then pushed their way, quote, it says this what they're alleging, pushed their way out of the building and left the location in a limousine bus, according to the warrant. A waitress suffered a lower leg injury after a member of Charlo's group stepped on her as they left. SAPD detectives issued 3 second-degree warrants for robbery against Jermall Charlo, August 7th court records show. Charlo, world champion, 32-0. Most recent fight was a victory in his native Houston with Montiel. Blah, blah, blah. Twin brother. Said twin brothers were honored in Houston. Now, Jermall Charlo's attorney, Kent A. Schaefer, via email Wednesday afternoon, he said that the client did not take any property belonging to anyone else. Now it's getting interesting. His attorney says, I represent Jermall Charlo, and I just saw your story regarding his case. I want to make it clear that Jermall stole no money from anyone at the club, and he made no threats towards anyone. When they ran his card, it was declined, and then he received a fraud alert from Chase Bank asking if he made the charge. He responded yes, and they told him to have to change. It says, and they told him to have the charge submitted again. The waitress went to run it again and came back saying she could not find the card. Oh, so this is a completely different story. Jermall was upset that his card was missing since it was a debit card tied to an account with a substantial amount of money. The waitress had his license sticking out of her portfolio, and he took his license back, saying that he didn't want her to lose that too. By this time, many club employees were gathering in the hallway, so Jermall's handlers wanted to get him out of the club before trouble started, and a club employee walked Jermall out to his car. Hours later, Jermall's assistant made contact with the club to give him another credit card number, but the club refused to accept it. Over the last few weeks, we have talked to the police, prosecutors, and the club owner. And although the club owner expressed his desire to drop the charges, the police officer insisted on filing charges to try to embarrass Jermall Charlo. At no time did he rob anyone or take any property other than his own. Boom. Now, ironically enough, Jermall's brother, Jermall, made a statement earlier this year and said race doesn't matter in boxing, stuff like that. And that, I told you I didn't agree with that statement, and it couldn't be the furthest from the truth. Because as soon as I dropped the video, all I did was read the TMZ article. I didn't have too much of an opinion because I told you there's elements of the story that sounded very fishy. I said I wasn't there, but it sounded fishy. We got to get some more information. But immediately in the comments, you seen a plethora of the racist fans. Look at the names, faces, and profile pics of the people doing the most hating. And they were insulting Jermall Charlo, saying he was broke, saying Al Heyman didn't pay him, and the Heyman checks aren't, worth it, or Heyman doesn't pay his fighters. Ironically enough, and I haven't even made a video about it, Billy Joe Saunders, in his fight with Canelo, that was supposed to be 70,000 people in attendance and stuff like that, he just posted that he hasn't received all his money. This story that we're hearing from the attorney is quite different than the version of the story that TMZ got and others reported. Me, I told you something sounded weird because she's saying she had a leg injury and stuff, like, so she got ran over by a person, like, you know what I'm saying? Unless you got trampled or something like they do on the Black Fridays when they got a DVD player. And ironically enough, this sounds like 12 was after Jermall Charlo, because it says the club owner expressed his interest and desire to drop the charges, but the police officers insisted on filing the charges to embarrass Jermall. So that's something completely different. So this looks like something that'll probably go away quick. And I know a lot of people wanted to hate on Jermall Charlo, and in my last video, that's what they did. They said, he's broke, he needs Canelo and payday. And it's funny, all the racist fans, they thought they had a case, but you do the math. Jermall Charlo, first of all, his house looks big as hell. So does it look like he don't have no money? He's on private jets. Based on those two things, watch All Access, watch his house. His house looks insane, right? So we knew he has money, right? The other thing is, if you listen to the article, the updated article, giving the second side, Jermall Charlo's team side, it says he surrendered or whatever, and he was released on bond half an hour later. So that has been confirmed. I think he had to pay $5,000, $10,000 or whatever to get released. So you mean to tell me, like, bro, old media is down bad. They used this. They thought this was going to be something to make Charlo look bad. If you can post bail or a bond or whatever in 30 minutes, then he could have paid this funky ass check at the credit card company. It sounds like he may have gotten hot headed because the girl lost his credit card, and then it escalated, and then, what happened. But I told you something sounded fishy, and that's the part 2 of the story. Again, you can't tell me he don't have money to pay whatever what could he have possibly got at the club that would have been more than $5,000, $10,000 bond. You see what I'm saying? He had bottle service and food. You know what I mean? So come on. But again, all the racist fans, go look at the video. I'll put a card to that video at the end of this video. They couldn't wait to condemn. This is what they do to black fighters. I keep telling you, this is what they do to black fighters. So I disagreed with Jermall Charlo's assessment on skills pay the bills, race don't matter. It don't matter to these racist fans. They looked at it, they seen a mugshot, and he was innocent, or he was not innocent. He was immediately guilty in their eyes. And just go look at the comments of that last video. So when I talk about these double standards, you know where it's coming from. Good to see that Jermall Charlo, this second, the attorney side seems to make more sense than the other issue. The other thing one has to question is, why would the club owner, want to drop the charges, but 12 and the police, they trying to pursue the issue to the furthest extent. So that sounds like they trying to meet a quota or something, because now he had to turn himself in and post bond and pay to post bond. But the club owner didn't want to pursue this. So that already seems faulty. So I know a lot of people got their hopes up, hoping that Jermall Charlo, a black fighter, undefeated fighter, they were hoping he would be jammed up. But it looks like his story, to me, his story sounds like it makes more sense than a girl getting her leg ran over from his crowd. You know what I mean? And he can't afford to pay his bill, but he's posting bond. Stop it.